We are going to see rainfall at historic levels. This will be a historic rainfall event that we have never seen before in South Carolina.
Good morning. I'm George Kearns with a statewide weather update for South Carolina Public Radio. The system that dumped more than 10 inches of rain on Charleston yesterday has slowly made its way toward the Midlands and is now dumping 3 to 4 inches of rain.
This is a rescue staging area here at McEntire Air Guard Base. As you can see behind me, there's a couple Blackhawks that are getting ready to go out on a mission.
We look for areas that are underwater normally, but any signs of any activity of people around, people on top of rooftops, cars, waving white flags or towels.
We haven't seen this level of rain in the low country in 1,000 years. That's how big this is. That's how South Carolina is, what South Carolina is dealing with right now.
The images from South Carolina this morning, they're just stunning. The state is experiencing some of the worst flooding in its history. Roads look like raging rivers with just the tops of buildings visible on the water's surface. At least 7 people are reported dead. People are being rescued by boat and by helicopter.
The state's capital, Columbia, has been hit hard. Mike Parker lives in one of the most flood-prone areas of Columbia with his wife and daughter. He says almost every time it rains, the creek near his home floods. But when Parker and his wife went to bed Saturday night, they weren't expecting it to be this bad.
And the alarm went off on the cell phone. There's a flood warning that goes off from various apps. And my wife had gotten up. I was still in the bed, and I heard her scream, "The water's coming in, it's coming in." I went and looked on a tri-level house. As it turns out, as we were watching it, it was just rising and rising. Within 30 minutes, it had risen to the 2nd level, and we were on our way out.
You can never be fully prepared for an event like this. And our job is to make sure that we have an informed community. This event taught us the real importance of transparency in government, sharing as much information as you possibly can, as early as you possibly can, so that people can make their own decisions about how to get prepared for this event.
Over the last 24 hours, North Myrtle Beach has received almost 16 inches of rain. Mount Pleasant is over 11 inches.
Charleston. This is the South Carolina Emergency Operations Center, and it's the primary coordination center for any major disaster that occurs in South Carolina. So when the governor declares a state of emergency,
we came out, and my son, who's 12, was up to his waist kind of getting through the yard. So it came really fast.
Obviously very upset. They're leaving their home in a state that they've never seen it before, knowing that they may or may not have a house when they come back. They may or may not have a life when they come back.
I don't even have a word for it. The situation is absolutely devastating. As you can see, we are completely under the water.
We never know when this type disaster probably come through South Carolina, so we're just trying to do our best to, give what we can.
We will remember. We talk a lot about how people don't remember days. People remember moments. And there's moments throughout the 11 days that we went through that all of us will take with us as long as we're alive.
Officials implore you to stay off the roads and stay tuned to local media for more updates. I'm George Kearns for South Carolina Public Radio.
For all of us, another full day of first responders working, but the morale is good of everybody that is working very hard, and the passion is strong. You can push South Carolina, but boy, does South Carolina push back. And so I am incredibly proud of that.
Anytime there's a major disaster in South Carolina, all public information for the state of South Carolina is routed through the state's Emergency Operations Center. All of the media relations folks or public information officers from the various state agencies come here, and we coordinate all of our public messaging and emergency communications. That way it's a streamlined process to get that information out very quickly to the citizens whose lives depend on it.
Media is very, very critical in emergency management, and it was even more so during this October floods that we had this year in 2015. And of course we work with the commercial media people, but we also work very closely with the ETV, South Carolina ETV.
During this October flood, ETV was absolutely essential with not only making sure that all of the agency's information was out to the citizens, but also they were a resource for other media outlets.
ETV also has something that other news media outlets don't have, and they have statewide coverage. And you know, each commercial news outlet has usually a specific area, regional area, but with ETV it's sort of one-stop shop, and they've got statewide coverage through both their television and their radio system. So for emergency management, it really works.
ETV is also the documentarian of record, so the ability to get images or shoot a short piece on Palmetto's scene, absolutely essential in the disaster. They're a state partner, just like the Department of Public Safety, just like the Department of Health and Environmental Control, and they're a part of our team, and we consider them absolutely essential.